Let's go back to the mockup and see what's next. I'll zoom out here and scroll down. The next parts are this attribution line here and some paragraph text here. So let's tackle this attribution line first. So I'm going to create a design snippet here that we can use in the browser. Copy this, create a new document, paste it in, and we'll save it as snippet component. Again, if you don't have Photoshop, you can go to your resource pack and copy the 16th step, snippet component.png.step, rename it to snippet component.png, and put it in the folder with all of the other files that you've been working with. And let's go back to the code, and we'll change the source file up here to snippet component. And let's scroll down to grab our snippets down here, and we'll put them at the top underneath the image so we can play with it. Okay, I'm going to go back to the mockup, and I'll zoom in, and now we have to figure out what HTML to use here. In a way, it seems like a paragraph. It's the same sized text as the paragraph here. And if I can imagine a very long name here, causing this to spill over into 2 lines, I can imagine the line spacing being similar to this paragraph here. But this could also be a generic div as well. For now, I'm going to go with a paragraph. It seems enough like a paragraph to justify that. However, we'll need to add some additional styling because this is italicized, whereas the paragraph below it is not. An HTML tag that we haven't used yet is the anchor tag. The underlining of the name Jeff Smitty here is implying that this is going to be a link to another page. And so we'll need to include that tag in our markup. So let's go back to our code and let's add these additional paragraphs here. So it's after the title, and we'll do paragraph. And now this is the attribution line, and it's styled differently. So let's give it a unique class. Remember, we want to use the name of the component, so snippet, and then a description of what it is if we can. This one's easy, attribution. Let's grab the text from the mockup, and we'll paste it in here. And now Jeff Smitty is a link. If we want to learn more about how to use links or anchor tags, we can do a search for HTML links, and we can pop into the W3 schools to take a look. So at the very top are a couple of examples. We use a, and then we use the href property, and we set it to the URL we want it to go to. Right now, we don't have any URLs for our site, so what we can do is use a placeholder. Okay, so let's go back to the code, and we'll start the anchor tag here. We'll do href, which stands for hypertext reference, and then we could put any URL in here. But if we want to set it as a placeholder, the convention is to use a hash character. And then we'll add the ending tag here at the end of the name. And now let's add the second paragraph. This one we don't need to add a class to because it will have the default style. So I'll go back to Photoshop to grab the text. Again, you could put any text in here without a problem, and we'll put the text in. I'm going to replace out these apostrophes. Let's save this and preview what it looks like in our browser. Okay, so a little bit different. So again, let's start by adjusting the color. I'm going to go down here into our Sources tab and open up styles.css. Now, if you haven't done this already, watch the video on linking up HTML and CSS files into Chrome so you can edit it directly. And we're dealing with the snippet component. So let's find out where those styles are here. Okay, snippet title right here. So let's start by modifying the look of the paragraphs inside of snippet. So we'll do snippet, and then we'll do a child selector and paragraph. And let's find the color we were using before with the icon box. Again, we're going to copy this and try to standardize on it. All right, let's adjust the serif. So we have font family, sans serif. Let's copy that from another style and paste it in. Let's fix the size. Again, the default is 16 pixels. So let's go to 14 pixels. That looks about right, maybe a little small. It's hard to tell at this point. Let's adjust the line height. I'm going to scroll up until we get another line height line here to copy. So it's at 170%. And let's reduce the size of the browser so we can see more lines here. So it looks like the last few things we need to do are adjust the spacing between the heading and the first paragraph. We need to change the color of the link, and then we need to italicize the full attribution line here. All right, let's start with the margin. We've done this before. I'm going to make our browser window bigger, and I'll inspect this heading. So here we can see where the margin is coming from. It looks like the heading is responsible for probably the biggest margin. And then there's a few pixels between the top of the text below it and the margin. And that likely has to do with the line height that we've set. So let's do a quick measurement of the margin that we'd like here. So we'll measure from the bottom of the Y, and let's measure to a couple pixels above the text to make up for the line height. So it looks like 17 pixels should do it. So again, we're in the H3 snippet title class, and we're going to add a style here for margin, bottom, 17 pixels. Okay, so that looks better. Again, if we've linked up our file with Chrome, that adjustment should be saved in our source. Let's take a quick look. Okay, down here, snippet title, margin, bottom, 17 pixels. Okay, good.